Same question, Clayton Smith.
What about him?
Wide receiver or?
Oh
edge?
yeah,
Got you in the red
that's
zone.
not. That's all. I mean, shoot, I like him at edge, but we do whatever the boss tells us to do. So I'm good with anything.
Your take on the defense through basically all of spring now?
Yeah, it's been solid, just constant growth. There's still like some of the things is we got to work through some of the blown assignments and the mistakes and we got to become more disciplined up front and understanding the situations, and that's on us to be able to get that to those guys and understand when they're going to try to draw us off sides. And we got some veteran players, but we're also getting a lot of guys that haven't been in there, getting a lot more reps right now. So it's as a whole, we're growing and we're getting better. So trying not to waste any practices, and a lot of guys are getting reps too. So we're trying to develop that underbelly of our depth chart right now too. So we've got a lot of guys that are even with our threes running against the ones and trying to mix up those groups. So it's been a productive spring from that standpoint. But there are times we feel like we kind of step back from our standard, and we don't want to do that.
With growing, how do you feel a lot of guys I know kind of flash with some of the younger DBs throughout from the start of spring?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where a lot of those guys, we've been able to develop some depth, which is really cool. We've been able to get guys reps against, some of our better players on offense too, and those guys have been able to go out and execute in situations. The thing that we got to get better at is, and something that we got to get better at from last year is more 3 and outs, more quick series. Whereas you've seen, I feel like when we have certain personnel on the field, we can play closer and tighter defense, especially in the middle of the field. But our philosophy is situational, so we're trying to get all the situations, and I feel like we have been able to improve in the situations, or at least get a multitude of reps in those situations this spring ball, unlike other spring balls. So again, it's just growth, and we're trying to just really set in concrete what our standards are, and that's it's just part of the process.
We've seen you working on a fair amount of blitzing in recent weeks. How have you felt about the way that's functioning?
Yeah, I mean, it's something we work every day throughout fall camp. So just it's situational pressures. We have our 1st and 10 and our 3rd down and our 3rd and long and our 2-minute pressures, and getting our guys to understand how the coverage works with the pressures is so important, and what look we're giving, and what throws we're allowing them to take, and what throws we got to be able to connect to. So I mean, it's we've been able to use all 14 practices thus far, being able to understand our situational pressures. So we're always going to work our different pressures, and we have a myriad of them. So it's really, we try to script it 1/3 of our practices. That's what we're getting, is 1/3 of our calls are going to be pressure.
And the execution has been good?
Oh yeah, it's actually, I mean, we're way ahead of where we've been before. Very few busts when we run pressures. The tough part about our defense is all the different coverage adjustments that we make. So that's why we got to be able to script 2/3 of practices with a lot of our coverages, so we're able to fit those coverages the proper way.
Do you feel when it comes to pass rush, you guys made the strides you wanted to make from last year?
We have, but we've also had some of those top guys, not practicing as much this spring. So it's really going to show itself this fall camp. I feel like there's times we've shown that, and we've been able to be a little more creative in how we've been able to develop our pass rush. But we're one of the few programs who believe that you do develop pass rushers, and you can do that. So obviously the proof will be in the pudding once we get to fall camp and we get the our best pass rush groups out there. But it's been an emphasis, and it's part of the process where we're not going to see really where we're at until we get into fall camp and into the season.
I'm sure you're not in the business of naming starters in April, but what have you made of the battle of nickname?
I mean, they got 2 really good players there. You got one guy who can play multiple positions, and it's still may the best man win. So, but I feel great about both those guys, and both those guys are going to play a lot of football for us.
What do you think Justin Watley's meant as a leader within the unit? How contagious do you think his energy's been in that regard?
Yeah, he has contagious energy. He's a very active guy. When he has energy, our whole defense feels it. And he's just a physical dude. I mean, you're talking about 275, 280-pound edge, who has some twitch, but he just brings a lot of physicality to that edge position. So it's our defense goes as our front goes, and he's a key piece to that.
What's a guy like Cannon Siegel brought to your coaching staff?
Cannon's just great. He has a bright future ahead of him. He's very organized. He's very industrious in terms of looking for things to do and finding ways to get better. He's what we're looking for in our young assistants and guys that want to learn. He's quick to listen, not quick to speak. And whenever you're quick to listen, you're quick to learn. And he really does. He's a sponge in there.
Your take on Rodney Bimage and how far he's come. He had a good spring last year, but didn't play a lot.
Yeah.
Played well again.
Yeah, he had a good spring last spring for a true freshman, being a senior in high school. So now he's, now he's had another really good spring for being a redshirt freshman and a guy that we really think can contend for that start, in that starting rotation, and a guy that's going to play a lot of snaps for us. So really pleased with Rodney and really excited about his future and his continued growth.
How much value is that to be able to take some snaps off of your starters at that position? Feel good about it?
Yeah, it's great. Just having depth in the secondary is just a huge thing. And being able to get guys to play multiple positions in case of an emergency and being able to work that this spring is just going to add to our depth and add to the continuity that we're able to have throughout the season. That's one of the blessings that we had last season. We didn't have that kind of depth. But we had guys play multiple positions, so we were able to slide Montana from free to nickel for our last game of the year and really not skip a beat on defense. And that's really what we're trying to do is it's not only getting guys that have position flexibility and that love football, but it's having guys just that have the capacity to learn and listen and want to get better every day. And that's what it takes to be successful when you're talking about a 4-month season.
And with that ability, the linebackers, obviously last year, but a lot of guys coming back, Coach, has some pairs, but mixing and matching. What have you seen from their growth from last spring to this spring?
Just a lot of depth, a lot of experience. A group too that knows how to practice like guys that have been there before. And when you're able to practice like that, you're able to keep yourself healthy. So the reps that they've gotten, they've been able to be physical, but at the same time be able to practice without getting anybody else or themselves hurt. Just not being battering rams, but really practicing like a pro and keeping themselves up and staying on their feet and being able to get the defense closed and being able to communicate, what the checks are and what to look for. And you got a great group with those guys and we have depth, so we couldn't be more fortunate.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brian.
Okay,
Appreciate
thanks
it.
a lot. Appreciate it.